Our speaker tonight is Teri Nudelman, and we're very thankful for her being with us tonight. And her talk is on astrology and tarot, meeting through the 36 decans. So the decans, one of the essential dignities, go back to ancient Egypt historically. And not only do they add an extra layer to astrological interpretations, but they offer a fascinating way through which astrology can meet another divinatory art in tarot. So Teri will act as our guide to explore this collaboration between the two disciplines. Teri has a BA Honours in Economics and a Master's Certificate in Banking and Entrepreneurship. She pursued a successful career in banking sector for 10 years in different parts of the world. And she's now a practicing astrologer and tarot reader, trained at the Faculty of Astrological Studies and the International Tarot Foundation, respectively. Her website is amethystastrotarot.com, and you can find her on Instagram and on YouTube as well. So, Teri, welcome. Thank you very much. And it's over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the Aquarius Severn Astrological Society for giving me the opportunity to make this talk. And today is the 1st of May, so we are making an entrance to the month of May, which is nice. And then I was reading a section from the Mensibles, the month by the John Lidus, and then he was talking about the May comes from the name of the goddess Maya, who was the actually the daughter of the Atlas and the mother of Hermes. So that's an interesting, and also it's all at the same time the Beltane blessings for the people who are celebrating. So welcome May, and hopefully this would be a nice talk and we can exchange ideas also at the end of the talk. I would always like feedback or questions, so we can just talk about the talk. And actually I will start already sharing my so I will start sharing my talk. In the meantime, I continue talking when I'm getting over this technical problem. We have tried also to get this off, and I can take this down as well, I think. Now everyone can see me and can see the probably the slideshow, hopefully, because I have just decreased the people. So, and I cannot. Sorry about this. I think I will just don't do anything and just share the slideshow, because otherwise when I play with the everything in the panel, I think I make things worse. So, okay, so let's come to the chart of the moment. But before that, it was interesting. I was looking at the chart of the birth chart of the Aquarius 7, and it was very interesting to see that actually my sun degree, which is 23 degrees 58 Virgo, is nearly to the point of the ascendant of the Aquarius 7. So it was very interesting, and at the same time I think we have the my descendant and also the Aquarius 7 sun degree are nearly the same. So it was interesting to see that kind of synastry between myself and this wonderful society. So coming to the chart of the moment, this is a view from Cheltenham. And when we are looking at the chart, by the way, I'm using the equal houses in my chart, so we can be informed about it before I start. That's the house system that I'm generally using in the charts that I'm looking at. And looking at the chart of the day, we can see that The moon is in the Cancer, and that's a nice, caring, nurturing energy and giving some kind of emotional aspect as well. And it's nice that it's falling in my 11th house, the house of hopes, dreams, and also the groups and wider community. So it's nice to see the moon at its own home and in my 11th house, and during this talk as well. And I think it's like, in a way, Sun in Taurus is like in the traditional planets is holding the fourth, being in a earth sign at the moment. So it's like it's giving the that grounding and stable energy in a way. And coming to the decans, and which are called also faces, and the minor arcana cards, I always think that, I mean, the etymology of the words are really important to understand the meanings of the things, the subjects that we are talking about. So when I looked at the etymology behind the faces, decan, we can see that in Hebrew, literally faces, we can see as the faces, in the sense that we see that in the earlier text that actually that is related with the ascendants, how the people look, etc. So according to the decans, you could get information about the decan of the ascendants, etc. But at the same time, it's also in Hebrew panim, which means also faces. And when we look at the also in different languages, we see that, for example, in Middle French, decem, or we see also deca, and also, I mean, like in the Arabic, durayjan, al-darijan is also means all decans. So we have different meanings, different roots that are combining or giving information about the decans. And when we look at the minor arcana, arcanum, the word arcanum, which is pluralized as arcana, came from the Latin arcanus, meaning secret, and minor is lesser. So when we are talking about the minor arcana, actually we are talking about the less or lesser secrets in that sense. So, I mean, when we are looking at the decans, they are a sorry. The decans are a subdivision of the zodiac into 36 intervals. We know that every 10 degrees is called a decan, and they were introduced by the Egyptians as a system of time measurement, and then integrated into Greek astrology, as Abraham Ibn Ezra states in the introduction to astrology. But where do the decans come from? Where do we start spotting them for the first time? And also, how do they develop through the time, and how did they come to this point in astrology, let's say, in terms of astrology? I mean, first, the decans we see in the ancient Egypt, and that's more from the time of the Old Kingdom to Middle Kingdom or New Kingdom time, and it is like being spotted around the time of the like 2200 or 2100 BC. That period we start seeing the decans. Though, I mean, in Astrological Origins by Cyril Fagan, there are parts that actually, maybe without using the term, we could be seeing it even before the Old Kingdom, but the official one, maybe the scribed version of them, were being seen in the ancient Egypt in this 2200, 2100 period. Of course, how were they using it? I mean, it was to understand the time, right? I mean, it's like they were looking at the night sky, and every 10 days they were looking at a fixed star, and according to that, they were trying to understand where were they in terms of time. But also in the Egyptian um, sources, when we look at, it's also seen that they were used in the funeral work. I think that they were inscribing some kind of fixed stars related with all these decans. And since there was afterlife, I think there were sometimes kind of a bit of like favorable fixed stars put, because there is an afterlife, so you would like that the person who passes away has a positive time in the afterlife as well. So that was the more or less Egyptian time. But about this funeral work and the coffins, etc., and all the Egyptian texts, there is a book which I never got hold of it, but I know that it exists. There is this Egyptian astronomical text by the Otto Neugebauer and Parker. So if you are interested, you can always look to those texts in that book and learn more about all these Egyptian texts as well, which would be in the references at the end of my talk. So you can also have a look from there. And after the Egyptian period, we come to the Hellenistic period, and and during this time also we can see that the decans appearing in the Vedic texts as well. And after that, when we come to around the more like the 7th century, which is the time of the rise of the Islam, which was born in Arab Peninsula, and then we see that more the impact of the Arabic Decans and people who were um, involved in that kind of philosophy, which was nearly until the 12th century, where there was the famous text also Picatrix appears, and it was also translated into Latin in that period. And following that, we have the medieval period, and in the medieval period, of course, we see the again with the start of the Picatrix, etc., all these talismans, etc., were done according to the decans as well. And after that, of course, Renaissance, medieval period finishes, and then there is the Enlightenment, and the Enlightenment starts, and that's the period that everything comes to a halt in a way. And then what happens that until the late 19th century, we don't see any subject of decans, and also most of the time, as we see, I mean, the text about astrology is more like, I think, more like astronomical text, etc., appearing that period. And from that 19th century onwards, we come and start seeing the decans, and also it was started being seen in the tarot as well. So when we look at the decans, it's one of the essential dignities when we look at the traditional astrology. And again, as it is written in the Abraham Ibn Ezra's introductions to astrology, it's like normally we have this house, exaltation, triplicity, term, and decan, and decan is the fifth dignity in this categorization. And as we can see here, I have to say thank you to Ryan Butler. It is his courtesy that he let me to share this Wheel of Dignity. And at the beginning, I had shared when I was explaining actually the etymology part, Nicola Allen also let me use her Wheel of Decans as well. So I would like to thank her as well. So as we can see here, we see in the inner ring zodiac signs, and then the second ring is the domiciles, third ring exaltations, and when we look at the fifth ring are the Egyptian terms. Some people use the, of course, Ptolemy terms as well, and the last one is the Chaldean decans. And here comes the order that is like, especially this order is used in the Chaldean terms. How it's like, because it's according to the speed of the planets, and then it's like the most speedy one is the Saturn, and it goes down to moon in that sense. And so the question is that according to Chaldean descending order, first decan of Aries starts with Mars, and why not with Saturn while it is at the top of the order, right? Because we have this order and we have the Saturn at the top and the moon at the bottom, and we are saying that, okay, the astrological year and the spring equinox, everything, it's starting with the sign of Aries. And why doesn't the first decan corresponds to Saturn, but instead Mars? And one of the explanations that is given about that is like the last decan of the Pisces is also Mars, and then we are finishing, at least for the northern hemisphere, of course this theory holds, we are finishing the winter in the northern hemisphere, and it's like, you know, all that hibernation and slowdown and the cold and everything. So we will need something fiery, something that will give energy, you know, that initiative force and everything. So according to one theory, why the first token of Aries starts with Mars is that. And this was for explaining the Chaldeans, again from the Astrological Origins by Cyril Fagans, and so says Diodorus Siculus out of Bibliotheca Historica. The Chaldeans in Babylon, being colonies of the Egyptians, became famous for astrology, having learned it from the priests of Egypt, and they were the, I think, first ones that were giving this order according to the speeds of the planets. So when we look at the table for Chaldean order, which is called at the same time the descending order, we can see that the first decan of Aries, as I mentioned just now, starts with the Mars, and according to that order, it goes Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon, and goes back to Saturn. And since the first decan of Aries and third decan of Pisces is Mars, in that sense, Mars is getting one more extra place compared to the other planets in the Chaldean descending order. And there is another type of, we can look at the rulers of the decans at the same time, and that's the according to the triplicity. And in the triplicity, what is done is, it could be understood from the name as well, is like when we look at the first decan of Aries, so Aries, the ruler, the traditional ruler is Mars, so the first decan of Aries is ruled by Mars. And then second decan of Aries, Aries is a fire sign. So after Aries, which fire sign comes? Leo. The ruler of Leo is Sun. So the decan ruler of the second decan of Aries is Sun. And let's say the third fire sign is the Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. So the third decan of Aries is ruled by Jupiter, and it goes on like that. So I think that it's like depending how you get the things, but most of the time you can use both of the rulers, or you can just stick one of the order and make the definition accordingly. And the third order that is known is by Marcus Maninius, and in Dorian Gisela Greenbaum's The Daemon in Hellenistic Astrology, Origins and Influence, we can see that Manilius' system of decans is unique. Instead of assigning to each decan a god or Egyptian divinity, depending, he distributes each third of a sign to another sign. So it starts with Aries, and then Aries, second decan is like Taurus, and then Gemini, and it goes on like that and turns into the beginning of the signs. And before that, something interesting about this is that Manilius, by the way, we can see all this information in the Astronomica by Marcus Manilius in the fourth book, and there is a really quite detailed definition about how he understands and how he defines the decans as well. So if you have the Astronomica, you can always see that as well. And the thing is that, I mean, when we start from the Egyptian period and when we are coming, we see that there have been different cultures, different civilizations. So according to that, when we have all these, I mean, sometimes spirits, and then sometimes demons, sometimes different type of images appearing as the representative of decans, as the civilizations develop, we start seeing that it get more human form in a way. So, and so different images will be existing for each decan in that sense. So, for example, when we look at the first decan of Taurus, the Indians say that she's a woman with hair and has a son, and she wears clothes that are partly burned. That's the image that is coming for them when they are thinking about the first decan of Taurus. But when we look at the I mean, Ptolemy's opinion, it's like the half of the carrier of the devil's head, Perseus, rises, and the tail of the Aries, and the stream of water, which is at the end of the river Eridanus. And that kind of descriptions we can see in different periods, different civilizations, and different images in that sense. And this comes from the Agrippas, which is about the first decan of Aries, which is quite an image of that decan, I think, because Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is generally associated with the color red. Of course, there is this fiery image that is coming through the Aries and Mars at the same time. And if we think that according to the Chaldean order, the decan ruler is Mars, and according to triplicity, decan ruler is Mars, and of course the traditional ruler is also Mars. So we have this quite martial energy that is going through that the first decan of Aries. So maybe if you have any placement, native placements in the, or any transit that is happening in the first decan of Aries, which in this case, at the moment, Neptune is in the first decan of Aries, and it's going through that decan at the moment, you can feel that martial energy more. And in Agrippa's lines, therefore it is said that in the first phase of Aries, that's the Old English, ascended the image of a black man standing and clothed in a white garment, girdled about, of a great body, with reddish eyes, great strength, and like one that is angry. And this image signifies and causeth boldness, fortitude, loftiness, and shamelessness. I think it's like all the possible images that could come to our minds when we think about both positive and less positive definitions or symbols that is coming through the Mars and Aries at the same time. And when we look at the, again, according to Chaldean descending order, in the third phase of Virgo, which is the third decan of Virgo, where we will have the, in the Chaldean order, at least the, it would be the Mercury, the ruling planet. There rises in the third phase of Virgo a white man with a great body, wrapped in white linen. With him is a woman holding in her hand black oil. And this is from the Picatrix. That's the definition that is coming to minds when we are thinking about, at least when they were thinking about the third decan of Virgo, which I have my sun there, and I think the Aquarius 7 has their ascendant in the third decan of Virgo as well. So, and according to triplicity order, the second phase of Pisces is of the moon, because the second sign, second water sign that is coming after Pisces is Cancer, and the ruler of Cancer is the moon. So there is this image of benefit of the planets and fruits and the fishes, and they are all coming together, and then this image comes to mind. There are lots of images, I think, that could be found more in other resources as well. And that's the decans in the astrology. And what about the tarot? Why do decans meet through the astrology, meet tarot through the decans? That's a good question, but it's something that I like also a lot. And that brings us the Hermetic order of Golden Dawn, which is in short is known as Golden Dawn, as you may know about it. And that's actually occult organization that was formed in 1888. There was the Samuel Mathers, and then also the Dr. Westcott, and there was one more founder, and they came all together, and they are all, I mean, from the different orders, and they decided that, I mean, they will form this, they come from the masonry actually, and they decided to form this occult society, the Hermetic Order of Golden Dawn. And they had these different levels, and also we see in the society the people like Yeats and William Butler, and also later the creator of the Rider-Waite-Smith, famously, it's like the basis of the I mean, tarot for the, at least, I mean, the 19th century and the 20th century system that is created by Arthur Waite, and also the drawings by the Pamela Coleman Smith. And they were part of this occult society, and I think at the beginning they were really doing quite interesting stuff, but people like Aleister Crowley or other people wanted to get in higher orders, where they were, according to them, making the real stuff instead of learning about, I don't know, tarot or magic and that kind of thing. They wanted to be in the higher orders. And in the end, I think this society started breaking up already in 1920s, and it got dragged until 1940s, but then it disappeared. In any case, if you know the famous, which is very hard for me to pronounce, the Thoth, which is the Thoth, which comes from the actually Egyptian god Thoth, like the, in a way, the correspondence of the Hermes and the Mercury. And that deck was created by Aleister Crowley, and he created his own society and telema and everything like that. So when we look at the 36 decans, there are 4 suites in each deck, I mean, in a traditional deck. And in each suite, when we look at from 1 to 10, there are 10 cards. But when we come to the decans, we see that aces are not included in the decans. So is it a convenience? Like, okay, we take the aces apart, not the 10, but the aces apart, and then we have 9 cards, 4 suites, so we have 36. Good solution. Or is there something else behind? Yes, there is something else behind, which is the tetragrammaton, which means 4 letters in Greek, but it's also the word, Hebrew word, Yehovah, which we see that when we think about the letter Yod, which is associated with the fire, and Ace of Wands, which is the Wands is the suite for the fire that is associated with the fire element. And then we have the Hey, which is the H in that sense, and it is associated with the cups, which is the suite that is associated with the water element. And then we have the Vav, which is the V, we can say, and that goes with the swords, the suite that is associated with the air element. And again, we have the H, Hey, and that's the pentacles, and that is the suite that is associated with the earth element. So we have the Yehovah. And as you can see, when we look at the images here, I always find it very interesting. Of course, there are some, I think when we look at the general images in the Rider-Waite-Smith, you can see some images that is related with the Christianity as well. But here, that's the important thing, is that you see that a hand is coming through here, the clouds, and that hand is something like, that is above. It's not an energy that is raw, but it's an energy that is superior, that is above us. It's like the hand of God. So that's why aces actually are not included in the decans when we come to the tarot decks and the suites. Of course, also we have to keep in mind that not every deck creator are associating the cards that they create with the decans, but at least Rider-Waite-Smith and the Golden Dawn, they have this relationship with the decans, and also in a way astrology, because also in the major arcana cards, which is greater secrets in that sense, which are the 22 trumps, we can see that they are all given the signs or the planets as well. And also when we look at the court cards, they are also given different decans as well. So in a way, in the at least Golden Dawn system, the astrology is quite involved, thanks to the esoteric Kabbalah, which is started with Q, not the Jewish mysticism, which is the K Kabbalah, but it's more Kabbalah, this esoteric way of understanding the Kabbalah, and also the tree of life, which was mostly expressed in the Thoth Tarot as well. So when we look at the tarot, what is the best way to remember which cards are associated with which signs? So the easiest way is that in each suite, as I said, it's like that cup, wands, which is known also as staffs in some of the cases, pentacles, coins, and also we have the swords. And in each suite, the number 2, 3, 4 are corresponding to the related elements cardinal signs. And for example, if we have we are talking about 2 of Pentacles, which is the suite that is associated with the earth element, then what is the cardinal earth sign? That is the Capricorn. So 2, 3, 4 of Pentacles would be associated with the first, second, and third decan of Capricorn. So when we come to the fixed signs, again in the suites, this time we go with 5, 6, 7. And let's say we are also in Taurus season at the moment, so to make it easier, so when we have 5, 6, 7 of Pentacles in our hands, then we will say that these are the first, second, and third decan of Taurus. And as we started with the earth signs and everything, and that point, I can explain also the 8, 9, 10, the mutable sign, which is in this case, Virgo. And we will have the 8 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, which will be associated with the first, second, and third decan of Virgo. And you can see in this one, I made a table, which we can see every card, related decan, and the decan rulers. And I have also made according to the Chaldean order, of course, and it is, as I have mentioned, it is could be used in the Rider-Waite-Smith or Thoth tarot decks. And I have also highlighted some of the planets, as you can see, like if it's like the natural ruler, or if it's like exalted, or if it's in detriment, or if it's in fall. So you can see and understand all these things through this table as well. And now coming to today, again, we go back to the chart of the moment for the Aquarius 7 meeting on the 1st of May. We see that the first decan, the moon is in the first decan of Cancer, and we see the associated minor arcana card is actually the Two of Cups. Two of Cups, and the Chaldean order, at least, it is the ruler is the Venus in that sense. And when we look at the sun in Taurus, we see that it's actually second. Now we are already in the second 10 degrees of the sign of Taurus, and we will see that we have here as the card 6 of Pentacles, and according to at least the Chaldean order, the ruler is Moon, which is exalted in Taurus. So there is a very interesting book by Susan Chang, and in this book, Dreaming the Decans, about each decan, every time she, I think, pulled all these cards, she was writing some lines, and it turned into kind of different verses, turned into general poems. And this is the book called Dreaming Decans. And when we talk about the sun in the second decan of the Taurus, she says, it's a quote from there: much to value, much to share, open doorways everywhere. With myself, I sign a deal to make what I imagine real. And here we see that as the explanation, traditional ruler is Venus, decan ruler is Moon, and according to triplicity is Mercury, and the image that we have is the Six of Pentacles. And here we, in a way, see that the person who, look, I mean, the way that he got dressed, at least holding the scales in the hand, is like could be a merchant or someone, but he in a way chooses to share. I mean, whatever he values, he thinks that maybe it gets more value when it is shared with the other people, so that they could also appreciate his sharing, and also they could make some use of it. And in that sense, I think it's an interesting card to see the Six of Pentacles. And when we look at this, I said the moon at the moment is in the first decan of Cancer. Again, there is a part from the Dreaming the Decans. Mirror me and be reflected. Meeting of two minds connected. I, myself, yourself, and you. Mysteries of one and two. So, which brings us to the Two of Cups, where the traditional ruler is Moon and the Decan ruler is Venus. And according to triplicity, it's the Moon, the Decan ruler. And there is this kind of, when we look at this card, we see that caring and nurturing energy. And also I think there is this also kind of approaching part, relating to each other and forming some kind of bond, and forming maybe love. And it's like the start of it and initiating in a way, right? Also, Cancer is a cardinal sign, so you are taking the steps forward in a way. That's interesting. Also in the Manulius, it's generally when he makes this association with the sign to sign, generally first decans, not generally, all of the first decans are given the cardinal sign. So it's in a way, in at least Manulius order, it's like the first decans are more like making this first step, taking the lead, and making some kind of initiations. And that kind of feeling, I think it is bringing through that. And in that sense, as I'm talking about the Manulius, we can see that in the second decans, we can see that the feeling of that fixed modality, may be more stabilizing things. And in the third decans, it's more like the idea of mutable. So if there is anything you have to change, make the adaptability, and being more flexible, and maybe make necessary changes to maybe go to the start as well. So one of the charts that I would like to discuss tonight is Aretha Franklin's natal chart, and I will just discuss one of the one or two placements in her chart. Actually, I have written about Aretha Franklin, and actually it was more discovering her genius through her natal chart. And when I was looking her chart for the first time to write that article, I was like, I looked at the moon in Cancer, and I was seeing like, without even looking at the grid, doesn't it stand in a way lonely there at the top? I mean, is it lonely? It's not, but at the same time, when we look at the grid here, there is one major aspect that is making is Mercury, and the rest, there is no connection. I mean, there is no interaction with the rest of the sky when Aretha Franklin was born, between the moon and the other celestial bodies in a way. And this reminded me this following quote from Darby Costello, when there are aspects between the moon and the Mercury, the soul life is very active because there is direct communication between the sun's first minister, Mercury, and the emotional body, which carries the rhythm of the soul into daily life. And it's very interesting to see soul and soul repeating as we are thinking, as we know that in 67 or 68 different sources say different dates, but Aretha Franklin was announced as the queen of the soul music. So I think there is this energy of soul quite prominent in Aretha Franklin's chart. And by the way, these are the images that are from the cards are from the Tarot of the Sevenfold Mystery by Robert Place, and it was with his special permission that I could share these cards with you. But I will also show the Rider-Waite Smith deck. But let's come first to the chart and what do the, in a way, in case of the moon of Aretha Franklin, might be adding in a way to the moon in Cancer as well. So as we say, I mean, it's the second decan of Cancer, and in triplicity, in Chaldean order or descending order, the decan ruler is Mercury. And in the triplicity order, since the next water sign is Scorpio, we are talking about the Mars as the decan ruler. So we have the Mercury, we have to think about the Mercury in Mars and Mars, Mercury in Mars. Yeah, that could be interesting. Mercury in Cancer and Mars in Cancer, in addition to the moon in Cancer, moon at home. So we have this all this caring, nurturing, and emotional way of in a way communication, no, when we add the Mercury in this thing, and plus the energy and all this drive that is coming through the Mars, all this in this caring way, I mean, maybe sometimes motherly way, and also that is barrier, there's this always this fighting barrier that is coming through the Mars as well. And of course, I mean, when we look at this placement being placed in the ninth house, we can also think that the first thing may be coming through mind, especially thinking about Aretha Franklin's being the daughter of a preacher, and like her gospel background, we can think that her beliefs maybe were embodied in her song lyrics and the music, along with all her memories, childhood, and the past. And I think also that the important thing is her mother as well. It's very important because when we again look at Aretha Franklin's life, we see that her mother had to leave when she was young, and at the end of the day, I mean, actually her mother was the one who taught her how to play the piano and everything. So I think in her music, in her emotions that is coming through the all the lyrics and the composition that she had done, I think that her mother was very influential in a way. And I think when I was thinking also the ninth house and all this Mercury, etc. connections, I was also thinking like, because there is this publishing, but at the same time broadcasting. And if you think about 1960s, 1970s, those music studios, and then there are these huge microphones, right? And then it's like the transmission is going through, you are that Aretha Franklin is sitting playing the piano, and all her emotions are passed all to the world. And I mean, as someone from quite the opposite side of the world compared to the United States, I know about her because she managed to pass all her feelings all her lyrics all around the world, which is also the, I think, ninth house being in a way meeting the different cultures through her lyrics and through her music. And at the same time, here we have also the Mercury in her fourth house in the Pisces, which is the second decan of Pisces, and we can see that that's the according to the Chaldean order, also the traditional ruler of Pisces is Jupiter, but according to Chaldean order also is the Jupiter is the ruler of the second decan. And when we come to the triplicity after Pisces, the second sign that is coming is actually Cancer. So we are talking about the moon here as well. It's interesting that they are kind of exchanging the decan rulers in that sense, and there is a connection through there. And again, I think this Mercury is in a way, even though it is in detriment or fall, however we accept it, even though it's in a position like that or in an exile, as the traditional astrology would define it. I mean, at the end of the day, there is quite a lot of emotion that is coming through based on her past, based on her family, and that connection between the moon and Mercury could be very important in her music. And the interesting thing with this three of three of cups from the tarot of the sevenfold mystery is that we, in terms of alchemy, here all the elements that we see are everything except the water elements. So in a way, it's like, especially when we think about the Mercury, it's like picking up all different views, all different ideas that is different than ours, and finding a way to blend them in a meaningful way. In a way, I think in that sense, I think it's also important to get that aspect of the Three of Cups. I mean, like getting this support of the different elements, different ideas that doesn't exist with us, and find a way to integrate to our life, to our emotion, to our inner world, to our mental world, and everything. I think that's interesting. Also, when we look at the Nine of Cups, again from the same deck, we also see this god standing on top of these Nine of Cups, like expanding in a way, right? It's like trying to find a way to reach and to grow your horizon. It could be emotional and like also in a way connecting, I mean, to the higher self, to the collective in that sense. And I would like to show the original Rider-Waite-Smith cards that were the Three of Cups and the Nine of Cups. In Three of Cups, I think that there is just most of the time this idea of celebration, and three different people raising their cups up. But I think that sometimes it can give the idea of course, support again here. But I believe that in the other deck, this kind of blending everything that is different from us is a nicer way to put that maybe Mercury in Cancer in a way. And Nine of Cups also is like there is some person, it's like more like he has all the trophies back, and sitting in a happily way. Of course, Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces, but there is also with the other card, there is this sense of expanding the horizons and like getting going together with the uh, emotionally with the all the rest. I think that is nicer, because here I always feel that in this Nine of Cups, is at least my personal view, is like I always see that it's like there is he's happy, like in some cases he's called gullible and everything, you have the trophies behind, but he doesn't have anyone to celebrate. There is no looking forward. But in the other card, I think there is more kind of looking forward. By the way, in the sevenfold mystery, it doesn't say any association with the golden doe or rider waite Smith's systems, but I feel that those cards are also nice to express the feelings of these decans. So coming back to Pablo Picasso, that's the second chart that I would like to look into tonight. That Pablo Picasso's chart, I think what took my attention mostly is the Venus. Why Venus? Of course, you may say that, okay, he has a huge stellium in Taurus there on top of the uh, chart in the 10th house. But it's when we look at the dispositor of all this Taurus is Venus, and also the ruler of the 10th house is also Venus in that sense. And also, like today's chart, I was saying the sun in Taurus is holding the fort, especially in terms of earth element. In this chart, Venus in Libra, which is again, Venus is the traditional ruler, it's at home, is holding the fort for the air. Actually, if you look at this, we have this. I mean, like when we look at the traditional planets, I mean, we have the Taurus, Jupiter in Saturn and Jupiter in Taurus. Good. And then we have the Sun in Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, and then we have the Moon in Sagittarius and Mars in Cancer. So do we really see any other air? And we have also the MCs in Aries, and ascendant is in fire, so we don't have any, I mean, lacking of, in a way, the uh, fire, earth, or water, but it's like the only air placement in the traditional planets is Venus in Libra and in the second house. So in that sense, I mean, Venus in Libra for second house for a painter, I think it's a great way of creating resources. It's what we own, and through our art, through our artistic values that he is creating, and that is the ruling the 10th house, the house of career, how he appears in the public, how he expresses in his authority. In that sense, I think that that Venus could be very important in Pablo Picasso's chart. And when we look at the decan, is the, of course, first decan of Libra, we are talking about um, the ruler as the in the cult, of course, in the triplicity order, it would be the again the Venus itself. But when we look at the Chaldean order, we would be talking about the moon. So in addition to all this, what comes through the Venus in a Libra way, in a more a harmonious way, but also in sometimes it's like being, negotiator, intermediating, like that, having this way of compromising and diplomacy that is coming through, that in addition to that is relating, and then all that values, we add this sense of security, the needs, that emotional needs and inner world into this Venus equation as well. I think in that sense it's really important that he has also this moon impact on his in his Venus in Libra, which is quite important, I think, in this chart as well. And then again, from the tarot of the sevenfold mystery, we see this two of swords. That's really interesting, that we have the owl, and that owl is in a way there's a duel actually going on, and the owl in that sense is coming through with the wisdom, no, trying to get all these parties together and maybe find the middle way and let them stop, in a way, fighting or the duel, and negotiate in a way, which is a negotiation, and everything comes through the Libra as well. And again, going to the original Two of Swords card, we also see that there's a blindfold, and I think this blindfold is more about we also here we see the crescent moon, and this blindfold is about, like, you know uh, actually you don't see anything, and maybe there is a decision to be made, and it could be sometimes, of course, indecisive, that is coming through the Libra. And then what you are trying to do is, like, you put your intuition, you put your other senses into the game, or what you feel, maybe to make that decision, or in this case to relate to the people, or to satisfy your needs, or your sense of security, or where you feel safe in a way. I think that could be really important, could have been really important for Pablo Picasso as well, in creating resources. And also, of course, second house could be about the self-esteem, the self-value, and all that thing that is coming through the second house as well. So I think that could have been important in finding the necessary sources to have this self-esteem and standing, which is again reflected on how he appeared in his career as a painter, and also all the stream of cubism as well. And I think in some cases, I think he may have used this sense of safety in some of his paintings too. So I think that would be, let me see if I have any other slides. No, that would be the references. And before I forget about that's the aces that I mentioned about the Q with Kabbalah part. My friend Gwen Estam also shared her ideas, so I would like to give a shout out to her as well. These are all the references that I have used for preparing this talk, so you can always have a look if you want. And these are my contact details and social media handles for myself as Amethyst Astro Tarot. And I would like to thank all of you for listening to me, and for sharing this talk with me. I think I will make an escape and stop sharing. If necessary, I can start sharing again.